Okay. Are we live? Yes. We are live. How do I... If you're watching this from the future, I will likely put a timestamp so that you can skip ahead. I have no idea what I'm doing right now, so I'm trying to figure it out slowly. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think this is working, right? I think I'm live. I think I'm live on YouTube. Wow. Exciting stuff. Riveting stuff. Okay, awesome. Nice. I don't know. Once again, this is the first stream ever. This is more of a test than anything. I'm not going to take it super seriously. Not that streaming is super serious anyway. But I don't know if what the streaming etiquette is, if I should wait or just go right in. We have nobody watching right now, but I guess it doesn't really matter. It's more of a pilot than anything. Guess I will wait a bit. Just check out if I forgot something. Hold up. Okay, so air start. Let's hope I didn't forget anything. So we have Gnosia. Yep. Ginpachi, the assassin thing, Musume, Fumetsu, Spy Family, Boku no Hero, and then the Chainsaw Man movie, which I added as being part of the autumn season, even though it is not, but that's fine. Okay, yeah, this is pretty much it. Huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's just a dude talking to a wall. As it always is. Yeah, so once again, this is kind of awkward. It's just me here. I don't know if I should wait for someone to come or maybe just get right into it. I don't have a lot of time to stream anyway, so I guess I'll just get right into it. This will be live streamed, but consider this a VOD that you can watch later, I guess. So let's get right into it. I chose this tier list because if you look at it, it's very, very small. It's just this season, if I'm being totally honest, was kind of cheeks. This season was not good. And I know that a lot of other content creators just loved farming the One Punch Man drama of, let's poke fun at the circus and the clowns and let's just make fun of it. And that's all fine and dandy. To be totally honest, I didn't much care for it, especially because, where is it? Is this the search bar? I've never actually used this feature. Yeah. So I dropped One Punch Man Season 2 around episode 7. So I think, in my opinion, especially compared with Season 1, which was mind-blowingly amazing, Season 2 was already pretty bad, and I just dropped it halfway through, and I felt no desire whatsoever to watch Season 3. And to watch it, to maybe just farm content or whatever, I don't have that type of channel, and to be totally honest, I don't have that type of time to be hate watching to farm content or whatever. So if you don't really farm the One Punch Man drama, this season has been kind of dry with a few gems here and there. I think My Hero Academia unfortunately got sort of overshadowed by everything going on, but I think for the My Hero fans, it was a relatively eventful season. And let's start right there, actually. My Hero Academia, the final season, I just want to put this into context that I didn't watch all of them. So My Hero, if we search it, Academia? Yeah, it says Boku no Hero. Okay, yeah, sure. So this is pretty much what happened. I went up until season 4. I have no idea how many seasons of My Hero Academia there are. So there's the 5th, which I didn't watch. Then there's the 6th, which I also didn't watch. And there's the 7th, which I also didn't watch. And then we have the final season. Okay, so I missed roughly 4 seasons of My Hero Academia. I guess 3. I, at some point, just had this sort of My Hero Academia fatigue, and I didn't care much to watch it because, in my opinion, the animation just started becoming not super engaging. I don't think it sort of went into a tipping point after seasons 1 and 2, and especially season 3. I think as a story, My Hero Academia sort of peaked around the Stain arc, and then we had a bit of a lull after that point. But in terms of animation, I think season 2, if I'm not mistaken, was the tournament arc. I hope I'm not mistaking this, but either way, I think season 1, season 2 had strong animation at certain moments, but then the middling seasons started becoming a bit Also, by the way, take no mind at these ratings. These ratings are insane. This was Shonen Brain back in the day. Either way, I enjoyed My Hero Academia, but I started just growing a bit bored with the story, and also I didn't think the animation was too incredible. And so what I did was, I was already reading the manga. I always kept up with the manga, so I just at some point just grew bored of the anime and stopped watching it altogether. I did the same thing with, for example, Dr. Stone, where I was reading the manga, but I just didn't think that the animation was compelling enough for me to experience the same story twice. And so at some point, I just simply dropped it. So I took it back in the final season. We jumped from the 4th season all the way to season 8. So we skipped ahead a little bit. But it was because I saw that the animation was just mind-blowing, and I think that My Hero Academia is still a pretty decent show for what it is, and I think this final season is very much the sort of... I don't want to compare it with Solo Leveling, because... Oh, the light just went off. Is that a problem? Huh. I don't think it is. You see... I love it. It couldn't be a first stream without this scuffed technical difficulties. Either way, back to My Hero Academia. This is the light I'm using, and it just ran out of battery. And to be totally honest, I don't care to turn it on. You will see me less shiny from now on. But either way, My Hero Academia, I think I don't want to compare it with Solo Leveling, but I think it is very much in that category of it is very much visually engaging. Its soundtrack is also incredibly good. It is a very good show that is just an adrenaline dump. You just watch it and you just see the battles and the fights and the moments of emotion and the main character bursting forth. And for what it's worth, I also think the story and the main character are a lot more compelling than what we have in Solo Leveling, which is almost exclusively just unga bunga fight scenes. But still, I think it is very much, My Hero is very much a one-dimensional anime, I would say. It is in the category of great because I truly think this final season excels at what it set out to do. However, I don't think it has the necessary qualities to really ascend into that peak tier. I think the final villain is not the best, let's put it lightly. I don't want to go into a whole rant, but I think that Naruto ruined shonen anime, and that is a very controversial statement, which maybe one day I'll make a full video to back it up. But I think that this whole idea that shonen anime needs to have this big climactic, just never-ending war story arc at the end of the show is just... it's just not a good idea. I think it fits some shows, like Naruto, for example. It made sense. I expect One Piece to have a very similar final arc, but not every show needs a sort of mega climactic war with all of the characters in this sort of Avengers Endgame moment where everyone comes into battle. I don't think not all shows need that. And I think that the dynamic between Deku and Shigaraki was a lot more compelling than anything we really had with All For One. All For One was almost like too generic of a villain, and so I think that while the story isn't the best, I still think that Deku is a tremendous main character. It had some very emotional highs, and the animation was just super good. So My Hero Academia, the final season, goes into great. Even though I will say this triggered me so much because I'm usually a person that likes to start something. I'm a completionist, what you call a completionist. I like to start something and then I like to finish that same thing. But this was, I think, the first time ever. Yeah, I think it was the first time ever in the history of me watching anime where I dropped something in a middling season and I picked it back up later. This has never happened. Once again, I only did this because I'm a manga reader, so it's not like I was lost in the story or anything. But yeah, it's great. I think if you are a fan of shonen anime, you should definitely go check it out. If you are a fan of My Hero, I don't need to say anything because you've already watched it. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. Up next, Gachiakuta. Maybe, yeah, we can go with Gachiakuta. Once again, great. I would say I enjoyed it more. Let's order it. I enjoyed it more than My Hero Academia, the final season. I think Gachiakuta had a very tremendous shift in between the first cour and the second cour. The first cour was good. It was good. It was good shonen anime with a more edgy main character. It definitely has a very characteristic art style, which I think makes it a lot more compelling to watch compared to some other more generic looking shonen anime. But I think the series really shifted into gear in the second cour. Once we had that Amo episode that was so dark, but at the same time so well made, and it had a certain empathy and emotional depth that I'm not usually used to seeing from shonen anime, and it was just super, super good. And I think from that point forwards, the anime just became so much better, and I just became so much more engaged with watching it, and it was just super good. I think not only do we have a very compelling roster of main characters, with obviously Rudo being the main edgy boy that has his own emotional issues, but we also have some very compelling, wacky villains, and we have a bit of everything. We have different flavors, from the crazier ones like Jabber, who's just the crazy dude that wants to fight, and that makes sense for a villain, but we also have the more cerebral, like what is he thinking, what is his problem. We also have those types of villains, and I don't know, I think Gachiakuta for me was already good and really stepped onto great on the second cour. I think the second cour was tremendous, and if you are someone that for some reason watched Gachiakuta and maybe you weren't quite convinced, but you saw potential in there, I would recommend you to go back and go at least up until the middle of the season and see how you enjoy it, because I think there is a noticeable shift from the middle way point forwards. So that is it. Honestly, for me, I think the animation obviously wasn't as good as My Hero Academia, the final season. Those scenes with Deku and Bakugo just zapping through the air, it was incredible. But even though the animation isn't overall as good, I think it has its moments as well. But the story and characters are, dare I say, better than My Heroes, which I hope the My Hero fans don't watch this and come after me, but it's just my opinion. Either way, Gachiakuta, it was also great. Now, how should I'm going to just use this order here. How should I go about this? This was the first season ever. And by the way, I just want to check out, am I live? Once again, this is super scuffed, guys. This is my first stream ever. Am I live? Live? Okay, I'm live. Okay, cool. Okay, let's open the thingy once again. Nice. Okay, so this was the first season in a long while that I dropped a bunch of shows. And it's about to be a bloodbath, okay? No, not really. It's just 2 shows. And if you follow me on Twitter, then you guys know that likely which shows I dropped. The first one is To Your Eternity. I just dropped this with no mercy because these past few months have been chaos for me, and just even trying to keep up with content creation and keeping up with all of the Rezero chapters that came out was already a ginormous effort on my part, if I'm being honest. But I really, at some point, I had to take better care of my own free time and my own sanity, and I just decided if I'm not enjoying something, I'm just simply going to stop watching it, because I hold no loyalty towards, I don't know, a past season that I enjoyed more. I don't need to watch the sequel just because I watched the previous season, and that is exactly what happened with To Your Eternity. To Your Eternity Season 3 is so bad. The best way to put it is it looks like it is a fan fiction. It looks like the author is different. And I was even a bit paranoid. I went to check if somehow the author changed, because sometimes there's changes in authors, sometimes people get sick and their son or staff takes over or whatever, sort of like what happened with Berserk, for example, unfortunately. But the author is the same, and I can't for the life of me even comprehend how somebody that... Oops. I hope you guys aren't catching that noise, but I can't even for the life of me comprehend how somebody that wrote Fumetsu no Anatae Season 1, I maintain to this day, the first episode of To Your Eternity is one of the best episodes of all time. One of the best first episodes of all time, I mean. And it just blows my mind that we went from Season 1, which was honestly very, very good, something I even classify it as a sort of normie anime. I think it's one of those anime that you can recommend to people who never watched anime. For example, I watched this with my wife and she enjoyed it, and I think it is just so good. How we went from this to Season 2 was a bit weaker, in my opinion, but it was still relatively good. But then we go into Season 3, and oh, hello, no six-pack, how you doing? And I'm still trying to keep up with the chat, okay, guys? I'm new to this, bear with me. And how we went from Season 1, which was not a masterpiece, but just so excellently well written. That first episode, I maintain, just go watch first episode of Season 1. It is such a beautiful written love letter to loneliness and to just the sometimes the suffering of human existence, and it is just so powerful. And then we go into Season 3, and you can immediately see just by the artwork, the promotional art, that there's quite a difference, because we sort of jump from I don't want to say the medieval ages, because this is all a fictional world, but we jump to sort of modernity, and we have a much bigger cast. And my main problem with this is that I don't like any of these people. And I hate some of them. Hate's a strong word, but I don't like any of these people. And I think it reminds me, and this is going to sound like a very strange comparison, but for those who know, I guess it will make sense, hopefully. This reminds me of Shaman King Flowers, where you had an already established cast, and all of a sudden you go into a sequel, and instead of taking the already established cast and the sort of already built-in storylines, in this case for To Your Eternity, you have these people which come from a very ancient time, and you put them into modernity. And I think just having a slice of life season where they try to adjust to, I don't know, just living in society, having a job, dealing with all of these new rules, just not having the knockers, which were the previous enemies, just having these built-in storylines, which were already, in my opinion, pretty compelling. I don't particularly care about the battles and the shonen aspect, because in my opinion, that was never the strong point of To Your Eternity anyway. I think this season could have just been a slice of life season with just tackling that topic, and it could have been pretty good. Also, the very strong the built-in storyline of Fushi. Now, I was about to call him Fumetsu, like when people say that the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen is Kaisen. You guys ever saw that meme? But Fushi having to deal with his friends now being beside him, but unlike him, his friends are not immortal, so his friends will eventually pass away. And I think that by itself, once again, is a very compelling human dynamic that can be put into written fashion and be pretty cool to watch. But instead, we go into the pitfall of all anime. We go into high school and we introduce these high school characters, and I care about none of these people, and these people bore me. And then I don't even know, should I even put this in my oh god, oh, the FBI is going to come after me. To Your Eternity season 3 pedo. Oh god, the FBI is going to come up after me. Man, they introduce this character and I hate this guy. It is so cringe. It is the climax of cringe. This dude, he is literally a lolicon character, and it's like they took, it's once again, how many fan bases am I going to piss off today? It's like they took Rudeus Greyrat from Mushoku Tensei, but took away all of the coolness factors and all of the redeeming qualities, the very few that Rudeus does have, and you get this character. This is like pre-Isekai Rudeus, and it's just embarrassing, man. It's just, I was watching one episode, and it's not here, but I was watching one episode, and at some point, the dialogue and the very existence of this character just became so cringe that I just stopped myself. I closed the tab and I said, I value myself and my time more than this, and I just had to drop it. Once again, I have read comments. I posted some posts about this on Twitter, and people said that it does get better, and maybe it does. And for people who watched this until the end and read the manga, I wish you the best, but I genuinely think there's a sort of, there's stories that get better over time, there's stories that peak very early, Promised Neverland for example, and then they just fall off a cliff. But I think that for any story, for me to keep watching, you have a sort of floor of quality that you can never go past this floor of quality, or you just lose me and I just drop it. And I think that this season of To Your Eternity just barreled through that floor of quality. It just went so low that I just couldn't pick it up anymore. And oh, I see some comments. The Rudy comparison, yeah. Once again, this is the first time for me reading chat at the same time. Yeah, the Rudy comparison is just, yeah, it's just obvious, right? But the thing about Rudy, and I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this right on stream, but I'm going to actually praise Mushoku Tensei and Rudeus, okay? The thing about Rudeus Greyrat is that he is a very troubled individual, let's put it that way, but he is pretty cool in what he does. He has the silent casting, he has the magic, he's unbelievably overpowered for his show. He's just a dude that, despite having a lot of, let's say, flaws to his character, which I do not appreciate, but he is just unquestionably cool. I think that is not a controversial thing to say. He is made to be, in many ways, this sort of main character that's super cool and that everybody awes at him, and even the viewer just has to awe at some of the cool stuff that he does. Rudeus does have a tiny bit of charisma and compelling qualities that make one perhaps want to keep watching Mushoku Tensei. This dude, however, man, this dude is just unbearable, and it's just, I don't know. I once again I don't know why they did this for. They had such a compelling storyline right here, just built in. It was served on a silver platter. Just put Fushi and the rest of the characters in modernity, in the modern world, and just leave them be. Let them interact with smartphones. Let them interact with just modern technology. Just make them, just hang around, and it's just a built-in slice of life. It sort of writes itself. And I know it sounds corny when people say it writes itself, because obviously there is always a degree of execution, and writing is hard. And there was a time in my past where I tried to write a series and it was so bad I slapped myself for even conceiving that monstrosity into existence. So writing good stuff can be pretty hard. But I don't know, it's just it's like they had a slam dunk just waiting to be done, and they just veered off into high school hijinks, and I don't know. It's just I don't know, guys. What do you mean Rudeus has flaws? Yeah, Rudeus does not have flaws. He's the perfect dude. Um yeah, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think hopefully I don't have any Mushoku Tensei fans that are super angry at my statements. For those who are older to the channel, you guys know that I really tried. I really tried to love Mushoku Tensei, but I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It was beyond me. But either way, let's just move on. The other anime that I dropped, and if you follow me on social media, this is also no surprise to you, is the Assassin thing. I mean, should I even talk about this in detail or just state the obvious? There was something which I should never have done. I made a video about this, and where even is this garbage? I don't even see it. Where is it? Where is this garbage? Is it that unpopular? Did I skip it already? Where is it? Huh, I'll just go to my own list. Hold up. I am technologically impaired. Assassin Exceeds. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so this anime, I made a very, very dreadful error, which was I reviewed it. And if you guys saw my review of it, the thing about a review is that you have the sort of B movies, popcorn movies, and you have popcorn series where you are sort of okay, you can enjoy it. You can just turn off your brain, have a good time. It's all good, it's all chill. You just sort of watch the cartoons on screen, move about. The moment I did that review, it just ruined the series for me, because the moment I did the review, it activated the logical part of my brain, and my brain turned on, and I started looking at this show for what it is. And what it is a mess. The writing is terrible. My goodness, this is so garbage. This is so garbage. And and people kept talking to me about, oh, but the art is so cool and the elf is so cute. And yes, guys, the elf is super cute. Okay, let's see if we can pop in some quick images of this. The elf is super cute. The art is very old school style. It reminds me of Record of Loros War. For those who have watched this, I think there is definitely something to be said about the art style and how some people are craving this sort of older art style. Also, one thing I do have to say about that though is, in terms of art style, it's just really, it's the isekai characters which look really pretty. All of the characters from the original world, namely our main character and his entire classmates who got just teleported with him, all of those look very generic and bland and just uninteresting. Yeah, it's these dorks right here. I don't know why the image is, it's from Threads, I guess, but the image isn't really zooming in, but whatever. All of these dorks look pretty generic. They do not look amazing at all, just to throw that out there. But either way, back to this garbage. The moment I activated the logical part of my brain, I just couldn't look away anymore. It's just, the writing is just so piss poor terrible. It's just, I just couldn't. I just couldn't. There was one episode in particular, which was, I think, the last episode that I watched, where there were the two sisters. These two sisters right here. I don't know why this image isn't focusing. Let me see if I can get elf sisters. Will this give me what I want? No, it won't. But either way, yeah, these two. The episode where these two meet and they have their conflict and it gets resolved, and you pretty much have I would say, at least 5 episodes of storyline just compressed into this bundled mess, which makes no sense whatsoever. If you ever try to watch this show with a critical mind, it will blow you away at how stupid the writing is and how nonsensical everything in this show. It's like the characters aren't written as people with their own wills and their own personalities. Characters in this show are just pieces that the author just sort of puppeteers to get the story to where he wants it. And where the author wants to take the story isn't even particularly interesting. So at the end of the day, besides the cute elf, there's really nothing here. It's just straight ass cheeks without wanting to sound too rude. Yeah, it looks very it looks very generic, but the thing is, it is generic, but it sort of has a certain charm to it. I at least don't see a lot of isekai shows which look like this, right? I think there is something to be said about the art style, even if the rest of it does look generic. But like, you look at the poster and it's like, it's once again the black-haired main character with the black clothing. It's just the Kirito syndrome all over again. It is just, I don't know, man. There is truly nothing here besides a pretty elf. If you really, really, really like elves, then by all means, go watch The Pretty Elf. But if you want something else besides that, then there are much better shows to watch. Now, how do I... Yeah, I'm just going to quickly talk about Spy Family, just for full disclosure. We waited until the end of the season. I'm watching this with my wife, and we have barely watched any episodes, okay, guys? Just for full disclosure. I think I watched 2 or 3 episodes. Either way, Spy Family is always the same to me, and this is looking like a ridiculous list, but Spy Family is just wholesome family fun. It's just super cute, it's super funny, and I do realize it is not for everybody. There are people that are bored by Spy Family, they don't like it, that's fine, but for those that perhaps Spy Family manages to touch and bring a little bit of warmth to their cold black heart, like myself, I think Spy Family can be very, very fun. And I think it's funny, I think it's very cute, very charming. It gives these wholesome vibes that no other anime can. And I love that you can see the author did more edgy stuff previously, because Spy Family is always constantly trying to sort of break out into a more serious side, but then it goes back into the wholesomeness. I think the editor for this show should be given an award, because you can see that he's always trying to reel in the author, like, no, this is our cash cow, you can't let it go, no, please. We had one episode which went into the main character, the father. We went into his backstory, and how can I deal with this? Just motorcycles just ruining the stream, my goodness. But we had this episode which went into the father's flashback, and it is of course very tragic. It's in the middle of a war, but then we get back into the wholesome cutesy vibes, and it's just, this anime really never fails to really provide what I think it sets out to do, and that's wholesome family fun. And for me personally, I really enjoy it. Once again, it is one of those anime that to me I would never put at peak, just because in order for an anime to be peak, in my opinion, it has to have everything from animation, storyline, characters, and I don't think that Spy Family really hits that storyline threshold for me personally. It's not something that I'm just dying to watch every single episode, like for example a Rezero, or let's say Lord of the Mysteries in seasons past, or Free Run, something that I'm really just, or Vinland Saga, something that I'm just super engrossed in the story. It's not that, but it is great at what it sets out to do, and what it sets out to do, it does pretty well, which is just wholesome vibes, just a fun show, funny show. Once again, it reminds me a lot of, for example, cartoons like Simpsons or Family Guy, not because of the type of humor, obviously not, but because it is the type of show where you can just watch a random episode. You can just pick up Spy Family episode 13 and it's fun. You'll have a good time. You don't really need a lot to understand the context or the story. It's that type of show, and I think it does that pretty well. Now, let's look at your guys' comments. Once again, guys, I can still do the sort of multitasking where I'm doing both things at the same time. to the mangaka's next work. Yeah, I mean, from everything I read, the Spy Family mangaka seems to be someone who's very into like more edgy stuff. His previous work seemed to be a lot more serious, but he just struck gold with this one and just didn't want to let it go. And honestly, I can't fault him for it. At the end of the day, writing for these people is a business. If they're out there to make money, if they're making a lot of money, like he is with Spy Family, then by all means, keep doing that. And maybe I'll just put the chat on screen. Can I just pop this out? Pop out chat. Yeah, maybe this is easier. Whoop. And by all means, writing is a business, and he and his editor have to get paid and feed their families. So by all means, do what you have to do. Yeah, it's definitely, Spy Family is, I totally agree, no six pack. It's a lot more fun to watch with somebody. I think it can be almost like a bit lonely to watch by yourself, but if you're watching with somebody, Spy Family can be super fun. I can totally see this as being true. I don't know if this is true or not, but I totally believe this because I deal with this myself and I'm not even a writer. I even just making YouTube videos, just sometimes you have videos which pop out and you almost made it. I sort of just made those videos sort of just going through the motions. And sometimes I put a lot of effort into another video and I'm so proud of it. And it gets like 20 views and I get so sad. Such is the magic of YouTube. I'm just going to show you. I don't know. This is super random, but either way, the stream is super random. Let's just show you guys this. I'm just going to make a quick quiz for all of you who are watching right now to see how well you know this channel. What do you guys think? Where is the chat? I lost the chat. Once again, I'm technologically impaired. I'm going to make a quiz right now. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think. What do you guys think is my most watched video on this channel? Just think about it. Just think about it for a few seconds. Okay, now I will show you which video is my most watched ever. And you will not believe this. It is the review of The Boy and the Heron. I didn't even like this movie. And it's not even so much that I hated it or something. I didn't even particularly feel super strongly about it. It's just a movie that I watched and a review that I did. It's just... And for some reason, I think I posted a video at around the time that the Oscars came out, and this was nominated for an Oscar. And also, I'm pretty sure at the time, this movie was controversial to say the least. I don't care to get into it. Personally, I didn't think it was very good. I think the other Ghibli movies were much, much better. But either way, this video right here was at the time the only video that was calling out The Emperor Had No Clothes. It was the only negative review of The Boy and the Heron on YouTube, and that's why it has almost 3 times the views than any of my other videos, the most watched ones. And it is so embarrassing for me. I even thought I got so almost, what's even the word I'm looking for here? I almost got bitter at some point, and I almost thought about, should I just private this video? Should I just make it private? Because I don't want people to go into my channel, sort by most watched, and for this to be it. You guys understand what I mean? I don't want this to sort of be the flagship of my channel because it doesn't even represent the type of content that I do. I rarely review movies, but I just thought about leaving it because, you know, whatever. At the end of the day, who cares? It's not like I'm running this as a business anyway, so whatever. I thought about leaving it, but I can totally understand an author of any creative endeavor, be it a writer, a movie maker, even something as goofy as a YouTuber, somebody who makes content, video content. I can totally understand being bitter at work that you deem it to be more successful than you think it should be. That is a totally real thing. Oh, you gotta make it live chat? Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much, Zoro. No, you were right. I was on top chat. I am completely stream illiterate when I'm doing this. This is literally the first one. I only did a sort of mini private stream just to see if I could actually get OBS to work, but this is all new to me. So thank you so much for the tip. Yeah, now we're on live chat. I think there should probably be a bit of stream delay, but yeah, I think it's fine now. Yeah, and listen, I can totally understand if you watched The Boy and the Heron and you liked it. That is totally fine. Once again, I don't think it's a bad movie. Just in terms of animation, it's just typical Ghibli quality, right? But it's a thing where I personally didn't connect with it. I thought it rushed too many things, and I think that it just sort of rehashed a lot of other Ghibli movies, which do what it sets out to do much better. For example, I just think there is no reason for you, besides the sort of losing the mother theme. There was a bit of a theme of loss, but besides that subplot, there is no reason for you to watch The Boy and the Heron instead of Spirited Away, because Spirited Away is just better in every single way. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to just sort of rehash that whole thing. That, by the way, that video was super controversial. Let me just, now that I've started showing you guys, I'll just show you a bit of behind the scenes, I guess. I don't know if this is interesting for you guys to see this sort of, I guess, inside baseball, but where is it? Where is it? Analytics, engagement. Yeah, here it is. The Boy and the Heron has a 53% like ratio, okay? This has a ton of dislikes. This review was super poorly received, to the point where even at the time I was thinking once again of privating this, because I want no beef with the Ghibli stands, okay? Guys, please, just by all means, if you enjoy the movie, just chill out. But oh well, yeah, I am very eager to the day where I get a video with more views than this one, so we can finally overcome it. I don't think it will come anytime soon, I'm going to be honest with you. This is just way more views than my videos usually get, especially because it's a much more, just a global topic, right? This was nominated for the Oscars. You can't really compare it with me reviewing a chapter of Rezero, which has like a tiny, it's a niche of a niche, right? But either way, one day, I will get a video with more views than this one. Until then, I will keep striving to not have a video with the most dislikes ever on my channel be the most viewed one. Okay. Multi-million network YouTuber Overlord Dio. Yeah, without a doubt. Either way, I completely lost my train of thought. Where was I? Back to the tier list. It's the main objective of this stream. Now, Gnosia. Once again, I don't know where to put this. I don't think it's peak yet. I think this is one of those anime where after it's over, it can be peak in my eyes. I just don't think I can put it at peak yet because it hasn't shown me enough. So let's keep it at great. If I had to put it, I think it's probably here. Once again, I'm only judging the first cour of Gnosia versus the entirety of Gachiakuta, so it's a bit of an unfair comparison. But in my opinion, Gnosia is very, very good. Very, very, very good. And it really annoys me that this season's entire discourse was just, oh, One Punch Man is so bad. Did you see how bad One Punch Man is? It's like, guys, there are good shows out there. Please go watch the good shows. Gnosia is so good. And especially, I think maybe the main problem with Gnosia was that it was poorly timed. If you put out Gnosia at the time where everybody was playing Among Us, even politicians and famous people and whatnot, if you put out Gnosia at the peak of Among Us popularity, I think that Gnosia would just pop out. It would pop off. It would just become one of the most watched casual anime ever, because once again, Gnosia is very casual friendly. It's just an anime that I think can be watched. Once again, it's normie friendly. I hate using the normie terms. I sound like a nerd. But I think it's very normie friendly. It's an anime that can be watched by people who are not necessarily super big fans of anime. I think it's just so good. It's pretty much an Among Us the anime. That's the best way I can put it. It's a werewolf game, if you've ever played those. If you've ever played board games like Avalon, for example, where you pretty much have the Gnosia, which are the bad guys, and the bad guys all know who the bad guys are, but the good guys don't. And so it's a game of deception, a game of information. And the cool thing about Gnosia, especially because I know there's a lot of ReZero fans in the chat, and the thing about Gnosia is that it's not only a werewolf anime, it's also a time looping anime, where Yuri, our main protagonist, sort of just goes back in time and plays these games over and over again. But unlike something like Rezero, this is more similar to something like Steins Gate, where you have sort of parallel world lines and all of the events are always slightly different. You never know who the Gnosias are because they change every time, and there are also other changes, let's put it that way, in terms of the Gnosia. Let's see if I can Gnosia. I still have the slides from my review here. Yeah, you have, for example, without guys, I think these are soft spoilers. Okay, come on, don't talk to me about spoilers. This isn't super tragic or anything. This won't ruin your enjoyment. But there is one episode, for example, where Yuri, the main character, becomes a Gnosia himself, and that is super cool. And there's another freaky episode where he wakes up as a woman, which I would do the same thing. If I woke up as a woman, first instinct right away, grab your chest. Just make sure that nothing falls off or anything. I don't know. But yeah, I think Gnosia is super, super good. And it annoys me to no end that people just keep rehashing the same One Punch Man conversations and nobody is paying attention to Gnosia. Go watch Gnosia. Not right now. Go watch it after this stream. But after the stream ends, go watch Gnosia. Yeah. Zoro, I'm going to tell you right now, I know this trauma right here, but listen, I watched Danganronpa, the animation, okay? I have seen horrors like some of you would not believe. Danganronpa, the anime adaptation, was so unbelievably butt cheeks. It ruined the entire story. It just compressed an over 20-hour visual novel into 12 episodes of pure straight cheeks, okay? I understand being very hesitant with game adaptations, but from what I can see, once again, I haven't played the Gnosia visual novel, but the anime is very, very well made. And from everything that I see from fans of the game, they say also the same thing, that the anime is very well made. A thing that they do is, because visual novels are so long, but because you have a sort of advantage in Gnosia where you have all of these loops, what they do is they sort of compress events from the game and they sort of make anime original storylines, which are amalgamations of the events of the game. But everything is super well structured. Up until this point has been super well written. I'm really enjoying it a lot. And the characters in Gnosia, I mean, they're just good looking, man. They're just, the art style is really up to my taste for me personally. I think the characters just look super good. And yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend Gnosia, and I know some of you guys can be hesitant with video game adaptations. Trust me, I am as well, but I think this one is definitely worth it. Why does it stop it? Oh, how do I get this out of here? No. Okay. I sound like an old man. Why am I having such trouble with technology? It's just, I think it's because I'm live. You get just sort of in your head. But either way, yeah, anime original scenes, and if they do the ending right, it will be really good. Yeah, I believe so as well. Once again, I have not spoiled anything. I always have this stupid instinct of going to the Wikipedia to check the staff, and not the staff, but to check like things about the characters. I'm just a curious person in general, and I have to stop myself from going to the Wikipedia, and I'm really trying to stop myself from spoiling so many things about the game. But I don't know what the ending is, but I am prepared for very good things. And once again, I'm giving it a grade for now, for the first cour. If Gnosia does get even better, I suspect it may be able to get to peak tier. So let's see about that. Oh, another victim of trauma. You also watched the Danganronpa anime. It was so bad. It was so bad, man. I actually muted you while you were talking about Gnosia. I mean, I didn't spoil anything, but yeah, I mean, sure. I won't go into any other spoilers, causes. Trust me. I won't say anything else about Gnosia, about the story. Yeah, about the Danganronpa game, I actually played all three of them. So here's the thing. The anime for Danganronpa was very, very bad, but, and this is sort of like the Ranger Reject effect, where the anime is very bad, but it convinced me to go watch the source material. Actually, not Ranger Reject, I never actually ended up reading the manga. It's on the list, but I did that with Faraway Paladin, for example, which I hope you see the novels behind me. Maybe not with this camera angle, either way. For example, Faraway Paladin, I thought the story was decent, it was engaging, but the animation is very mediocre. The anime itself is very just middle of the pack. I wouldn't say you should go out of your way to watch it, but it was good enough for me to convince me to read the books. And so I'm forever grateful for the very mediocre adaptation of Faraway Paladin. And the same thing about Danganronpa. I think the anime was complete garbage. It had a very good opening and ending and a cool soundtrack, that's about it. But it convinced me to play the visual novel. And once again, maybe, let's talk about this. Maybe this entire channel does not exist if not for Danganronpa the animation. It's true, because hear me out, this sort of butterfly effect. I watched Danganronpa the animation, which was sort of the gateway for me to get into visual novels, which was sort of the gateway for me because I played Danganronpa 1, 2, and 3, and that was then the gateway for me to get into light novels because I wanted to know more about Overlord and Rezero, and so many people talked about the light novels that I wanted to get into them. And once you played a visual novel, a book isn't really that intimidating anymore. And so this entire channel, this stream right now exists because of Danganronpa the animation. So you must respect Danganronpa the animation. Yeah, dude, Steins Gate, the visual novel, I have a confession to make. I think I've said this in a previous video, but I have that on my Steam library, rotting just forever. I bought it. I have, once again, I just have very little time to do any of this, and so I can barely keep up with ReZero as it is, the web novel releases. But I have Steins Gate, and I have ReZero, what's it called? The thing with the nun, whatever, Lost in Memories, whatever it's called, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. I have Danganronpa, I have ReZero, and I'm pretty sure I have Fate. I have also the Fate, but I played Fate back in the day with the original translation. Wink, wink. You guys know what that means. But I have a bunch of visual novels, which I likely will never have time to play. I would love to stream those. It's just simply not an option for me at this point in my life. But hopefully one day we will get there. And yeah, then let's just try and finish this up. Up next, Uma Musume. I am hereby thanking everybody who recommended Uma Musume on my season preview, because I saw this had a super high score, but I just thought this was for fans of the gacha game and it was something very, very niche. But you guys told me, some of you guys told me that no, it is actually pretty cool. You should go check it out. It's a prequel and you don't need to watch the original and really know anything about Uma Musume besides the fact that it's horses who are girls. Or girls who are horses. I haven't really understood yet, but it's cool regardless. And I went and watched Uma Musume, and my goodness, this was very, very good. This was exceedingly good. This was mind-blowingly good because, I'll be honest, I came into this sort of expecting a bit of comedy. I expected this to be just sort of goofy but self-aware, just a sort of comedy sports anime, just a sort of parody of sports anime with a bit of, I guess, idol elements, because I know that people just fawn over the girls and the Uma Musume and whatnot, but this was actually treated very seriously, engaging storylines, compelling characters, a compelling struggle, very hype, very intense races. This was very good. This was an excellent sports anime. This was very, very good. And once again, I don't think it quite, once again, I'm being super stingy, but I am always super stingy with the peak tier. But, where do I put it? I think just because I'm a bit of a fanboy for time looping and whatnot and the psychological elements, I did enjoy Gnosia more than Uma Musume, so I'm going to put it here. But do not be mistaken, I really, really enjoyed Uma Musume. It is very good. And if you are somebody who, like me, is very skeptical of it, Cinderella Grey. Let's see if it's here. Oh boy, Grey. Is it Grey with an A or an E? I never know. One is the British version, the other is the American one, but I never know because I actually learned English with the all of the British things. So I still write, for example, favorite with an U and color with an U. So sometimes I get confused with the spellings. Either way, the thing that initially attracted me to this was because this had a super high score and I just thought, damn, an 8.5. And once again, guys, ratings on my anime list are a joke, okay? They are very unserious on so many levels. Even one day, if I ever get enough time, I will do like an 8-hour stream extravaganza where I roast my own anime list, because the ratings on that list are out of control. They are an embarrassment to humanity, okay? But either way, the ratings on my anime list are just kind of a joke, but at the same time, I think there are certain trends you can see, and when an anime is trending upwards of 8, I think generally speaking there might be potential there, and it attracted me because of this. And I was torn between watching this, because once again what is currently airing right now is Uma Musume Cinderella Grey Part 2, and so that meant I had to watch Cinderella Grey Part 1, and so it was a bit of homework, but I sort of had time to watch one single anime, and I was torn between this one and what's it called? Chibi Theater? No, what's that thing called? No, Isekai Quartet. Isekai Quartet. But the thing is, Isekai Quartet had, I think, 3 seasons, so one more than this one. And also Isekai Quartet, I was already watching Ginpachi-sensei and Spy Family, which are sort of comedy gag anime, so I didn't feel the need to really watch any more comedy anime this season. Once again, maybe I'll watch it later down the line, but I thought, why not try out Uma Musume? And I love this. I really, really love this. I recommend anyone who is perhaps a bit hesitant about this, if you like sports anime of any kind, if you like shonen of any kind, I really recommend you watch this. Once again, this has a lot of elements which they don't quite necessarily explain, which I guess they sort of take for granted, but they don't really detract from the quality of the series. For example, after every race, there is a sort of idol concert. They never really explain why. I sort of understand the marketability aspect of it, but in story, it doesn't really make sense to me. They don't never really explain it, but sort of I don't really care, especially because it's a very small part of the show. I'm guessing it's a big part of the game, but it's a super small part of the show. The show focuses on the races and on Oguri Cup, our main character, and the hype and the races and the rivals, and it is so good. So I definitely recommend Uma Musume Cinderella Grey. I can't say enough good things about it, and it's just, listen, I am not going to get into horse racing, I'm not betting away my life savings, I'm certainly not playing the gacha game and just destroying my life savings that way, but, if there is more Uma Musume anime with this level of quality, I'm watching 1000%. Now let's check out the chat once again just to see what I missed. I still can't do the thing where people are talking. Now I realize how tough live streaming is. How can people be talking and reading at the same time? That's crazy. I'm not that multifaceted. Great pacing and payoffs. Yeah, the thing about Uma Musume is that the pacing is insane, because it's like almost every single episode you have a hype race. It's just hype. The whole time is just super good. Okay, so other people also write favorite with the new. That's good to know. It's not just me. More grounded sport, or rather like... So no six pack. This is actually a very tough question, because how do I even reply to this? So how grounded can an anime about girls who are horses be? Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I will say this, the premise is very goofy. The premise is extremely goofy, it is very silly, but it presents itself in a serious manner, it treats itself in a serious manner, and if you are open enough to get past the goofy premise and treat the anime seriously, I think you will be rewarded for it. That's what happened to me. Once again, I went into this expecting a sort of more goofy comedy, and I got a very serious sports anime. I got very into it, and if you want something that is more grounded, then I think this may be for you. Once again, the premise is goofy, but the storyline is very grounded. And one thing I will say, the thing about Uma Musume is that the sport itself, for example, if you've ever watched Kuroko no Basket, you know that characters have sort of special powers, and they have like unrealistic moves that you would never see in real life, much less high schoolers doing it. And so there's always an element of like the supernatural in certain sports anime like Kuroko no Basket, for example. I would actually say that Cinderella Grey, despite once again the very goofy premise, is much more akin to something like Haikyuu, where they establish the rules of the sport and the rules of the sport are always adhered to. It is very realistic inside its own realm, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's that. There is, I guess, sort of very mild spoilers. There is sort of the zone where the characters enter this extra level of focus, but that in itself is a realistic thing because that literally happens in real life. If you've ever played a sport, then you know that you sometimes enter the zone and you get this extra level of focus. So, oh, I wasn't actually updating the chat. So, yes, ReZero Season 4, just super, super hyped for it as well. Can you all wait for January the 2nd? Yeah, if you love Haikyuu but don't like Kuroko no Basket, I would honestly say give it a shot. You might like it. Once again, the premise is mega goofy, I won't tell you otherwise, but the sport itself is seriously and treated in a serious manner. Now, oh, actually, damn, we have 68 people watching. No, oh no, concurrent viewers. Hold up, player. No, we have 12 people watching. That's actually pretty good. I didn't even announce this stream, by the way, which I think I should do. I should announce streams in advance. I literally just had time to do this and I just decided to do it because I just had time, and this is once again more of a test stream. I'm still trying to test things out. The tier list is a sort of pretext for me to actually try out streaming, so I think it's going decently well up until this point. Now, Ginpachi-sensei, I'll leave the Chainsaw Man movie for last. Ginpachi-sensei for me is good. It is good. It is funny. It is, I will say, not as good as the original Gintama. Obviously, this is a side story, and I think it gets a bit too constrained with the high school setting. Pretty much, if you've ever watched Gintama, this is the characters of Gintama in a high school sort of parallel world, if you can call it that. I think it is a funny anime. Not all episodes are bangers, but once again, neither was that true for the original Gintama. Not every single episode is a banger, but some of the episodes are very funny. I did laugh quite a lot with this one, and it's good. It's good. I can't tell you that it's great because it's not. There was one thing I saw somebody post on Twitter that the main difference between Gintama and Ginpachi-sensei is that the main character Gintoki, because he's a professor in this one, he takes much more of a back seat and he's not as intertwined with the comedy and all of the hijinks that happen in the episodes. And once I saw that, I sort of couldn't unsee it, and I think that is definitely one of the flaws of Ginpachi-sensei. But besides that, I think it's fun. I think it's a funny anime. I don't know if I would necessarily give it as a blind recommendation to anyone and everyone, but I think you can watch it if you like Gintama, and if you are looking for a sort of comedy anime and you've already watched Spy Family and Isekai Quartet, then yeah, maybe try this one out. I think you might like it. I think it's once again very similar to that sort of Simpsons, Family Guy type of show where you can just sort of watch any random episode and hopefully you will get the comedy. You don't need a lot of context on the characters or the setting. You can just pop in an episode and enjoy it, and hopefully it's good. And now we have obviously saved the best for last. I don't think this will surprise anyone. Once again, I don't know if this counts as an autumn release because I don't think it came out in autumn in Japan, but I don't really care about Japan because I watched it last month, I think, or 2 months ago. So this counts as an autumn anime for me. So it goes right into peak. Obviously, it does not seem to. Okay, now it's in peak. Good. It was struggling to get to peak, but now it's there. Chainsaw Man. Just how much can I praise this anime? It's just, the movie was so good, and I ended up not being able to watch the Jujutsu Kaisen movie. I just didn't have time, and to be quite honest, I wasn't quite as interested in watching it because I think it's just pretty much a recap and a preview of Season 3, so I'll just watch Season 3 when it comes out. I don't really care to go to the cinema, but either way, Chainsaw Man movie was incredible. It adapted what is arguably, from what I remember, keep in mind I've read this years ago, it is arguably one of my favorite, if not my favorite arc from the manga, the Reze arc. I think the story is great, the drama, and then the cinematography, the animation. This looks gorgeous in a very, very different way than Demon Slayer, for example, but it looks incredible in its own way, and it's much more cinematic. And I wish I had a better word to sort of just exemplify what I'm saying, but I think that Demon Slayer looks very good, but it's a more cartoony is not the word I'm looking for. I guess Chainsaw Man is more artistic. Once again, I'm throwing out words that I can't really quite convey what I'm trying to say here, but if you've watched both movies, then hopefully you get what I'm saying. And Chainsaw Man was just stunning. It was spectacular. And I think one thing that it has, even if you prefer, for example, the presentation from the Demon Slayer movie, one thing that the Chainsaw Man movie has that is a great advantage is that it's an actual movie. And what I mean by this is, if you go watch Demon Slayer unprepared, not knowing what you're going in for, you will notice that Demon Slayer sort of just blue balls you because it's the first part of a trilogy, but it doesn't even make an attempt at being like a sort of standalone coherent piece of storytelling. It is very much you're dropped in the middle of a show and you stop in the middle of a show. And that is the movie. Very well animated, very well directed, nothing bad to say about the movie execution itself, but the way they adapted that part of the story is not really satisfying on its own. While the Chainsaw Man movie, I obviously wouldn't recommend you watching Chainsaw Man movie if you've never watched Chainsaw Man, but it is a movie. It works by itself. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It has a narrative arc. It has the climax with action, with fury, with drama. It has the very, very emotional, sad ending. It is so, so good, so emotional. Honestly, best anime movie of the year. I haven't watched 100 meters. I still have yet to watch 100 meters, but I would be very surprised if I enjoy that more than the Chainsaw Man movie, I'll be honest. So, yeah, once again, this isn't super high praise because I don't watch a lot of movies, as you guys know, but to me, this was by far the best. And, so yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, the pool scene was just so, so, so good. It was, man, once again, I don't want to really spoil anything in case people haven't watched it, but if you just, I don't know, if you browse social media and enjoy anime in any way, I think that you have likely already seen some snippets of it. And the Chainsaw Man movie, even the soundtrack was incredible. And one thing I will say, the soundtrack for Demon Slayer, I think doesn't quite stand up to par with the level of animation. I think the animation is very good, but the soundtrack is more like generic sounding. It doesn't really have those songs that stick with you. And man, there are some songs, one particular, the song of the pool scene that I'm thinking right now, that song sticks with you. You leave the cinema and that is playing in your head while you're driving home. That is just beautiful. Yeah, it's true. The Demon Slayer movie focuses mainly on fights, but at the same time, I will say, and maybe this is controversial, but the Chainsaw Man movie fights are better than the Demon Slayer ones. Even though there's less of them, that entire sequence where the climax of the movie, I won't spoil, but when, let's just say the main character is fighting the main villain, let's put it as vague as possible. But that sequence, the climax of the movie, I'm sorry, man. There is nothing that I saw in the Demon Slayer movie that is even close to that in terms of just sheer adrenaline and just excitement and just visual spectacle. So, yeah. In the manga version, really? I actually quite enjoyed Reze in the manga version. It was one of my favorite arcs from what I remember. Once again, I have read Chainsaw Man very, very long time ago. I read it as it was coming out, and I don't remember much of it, if I'm being honest. I remember the ending, which is sort of always what sticks with you, the beginning, the ending, and the middle just sort of gets fuzzy. I don't remember a lot about Chainsaw Man. I sort of stopped keeping up with part 2, but I was actually enjoying part 2. I just, for whatever reason, I just got busy and stopped keeping up with it, but I do want to pick up Chainsaw Man Part 2 in a future, soon, hopefully soon, whenever I have time, which is never. And speaking of time, I think I don't have much more time. This is the final list. Let's just put it on screen for all of my 11 beautiful people watching right now. This is the final list. Once again, I think this was a very top-heavy season. I think this season was overall kind of cheeks. There wasn't a lot of actually good anime to watch, but there were a few gems here and there which I really recommend. Obviously, even if My Hero Academia, Spy Family, those are sequels, but besides those, you have stuff like Gachiakuta, Gnosia, Uma Musume, very, very good. Some anime ended up disappointing me, and obviously I didn't even give a chance to stuff like One Punch Man Season 3 or whatever, because, guys, I don't care about watching the train wreck. If you guys enjoy that, then by all means, have your fun. I don't care. I don't have time to hate watch. The only anime series which I want to hate watch is Shield Hero, because it is comically bad. It is the room of anime. It is so bad that it sort of spins around and it's actually good. But I didn't even have time to watch Shield Hero season 4 this year, so I might still watch it in the future, hopefully. One day. But yeah, I didn't watch, obviously, all of the garbage. I watched very, very few shows this season, so the ones that I did pre-select for, I quite enjoyed, so I think that's pretty much the usual. From what I can see, I'll make a video about this later, but from what I can see, winter 2026, or is it winter or spring? Oshinoko, is it Ene no Shobotai, Fate Strange Fake. I'm looking forward to this. I've seen a lot of good things about this. I think this next season will bang. I think this next season will be good. It has some Jujutsu Kaisen. Yep. It's winter. I think this next season will be very, very good. But if we're being honest, fall was just not it. I mean, just looking at this, it's like Kingdom Season 6. Kingdom was much like My Hero Academia. I just dropped it halfway through because I read the manga and the manga was just so much better. Why even watch mediocre animation, right? I don't know if the animation got significantly better, but either way, Kingdom just lost me. And then Rama, I don't care for. And then all of the other anime, which I wasn't particularly excited for. I might one day go back and watch Isekai Quartet. But the thing is, it's becoming an ever-increasing mountain for me to climb. At the time when it was just one single season, I should have watched it, but now it's 3. Now it's 3 seasons. And just having the time to watch 3 seasons of a show is becoming ever more difficult. And the problem will become even worse when season 4 comes out. So, yikes. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever have time for this, but either way, I think this season, for what it was pretty mediocre. I think summer was fantastic. Summer was divine. Summer was very, very good. And I think after the rise, you must have the fall, literally and figuratively. Fall was just not as good. It was quite a mediocre season, but with some standouts. Obviously, once again, go watch Gnosia right now. But besides that, I think winter will come back with a vengeance, and it will bang. Winter will be very, very good. Yeah, and wait, is ReZero in winter? Wait, what? Hold up. ReZero? Is ReZero season 4 in winter? Where is season 4? Second season, third season. Hold up, I'll just go to third season and then go on from there. Fourth season. This is spring. Okay. You guys scared me for a moment. I was about to get hyped. So yeah, ReZero season 4 will be delightful as well, but that is spring. And yeah. ReZero just doesn't have the talent pool, and yeah, I know. I'll be honest, without wanting to derail the conversation too much, I am very, very scared for what is going to happen to ReZero as a sort of adaptation after season 4. Because I think Arc 6 is very clean. It's a very sort of clean adaptation and sort of clean ending, so to speak. I am extremely scared for Wallachia, Arcs 7 and 8, because I don't think that most people will want to take on Wallachia. First of all, it's huge, it's ginormous, it's arguably too big, it's just a very grand undertaking, and it is, according to novel statistics in terms of sales, it is very underperforming compared to the rest of the series. So I think I'm very scared. I hope that season 4 isn't the last season of ReZero, or at least the last good season of ReZero, but I'm very, very scared what's going to happen with Wallachia, because it simply has that stink on it about not being as good, and it is just huge to adapt. So yeah, let's see what they do. Either way, I am extremely thankful to all of the 13 people watching right now. That is super cool. I made this live stream as a sort of, I guess, just a ninja live stream out of nowhere, just a surprise. And yeah, this was mostly a test. I do want to stream other things. I thought about streaming, for example, my end of the year awards, but that would be just huge. That would be too many anime to count. And I also wanted to have enough time to sort of get sidetracked and talk about other things. Hopefully you guys enjoy that, a bit of inside baseball as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be leaving now. And yeah, I don't know how to close the stream. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you. A big special thanks to all of my members. I'm going to put them right here because I have it open. Big thanks to all of the members, especially the Knights, Asinx, DSPGFJ, Cia Astrea, and No Sixpack. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess this is it. This is it. I will now have to click on the button to close the stream, whatever that is. Hopefully I find it. Yeah, thank you guys. I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't know when the next one is. Unfortunately, I can't really have a consistent schedule, but let's see. Thank you guys so much for watching, and ciao!